I'm 91 years old. My name is Helen. I was a hospital nurse for 43 years. Retired now. My husband died 8 years ago. I don't have much time left. My body tells me that every morning when I get out of bed, maybe a year, maybe 2, I'm okay with that. But there's something I need to say before I go. Something I've been carrying for most of my life. I waited 47 years for my sister to apologize first. We had a fight when I was 38 years old. I don't even remember what it was about. Something she said at a family dinner. Something about my parenting. I was hurt. I was right. So I stopped calling. And I waited. For 47 years, I waited for her to admit she was wrong. Now she has dementia. And I got my sister back for maybe 6 months before she started forgetting who I am. This is hard to admit. I've thought about it every single day for the last 6 years. What took me 47 years to understand, I'm gonna tell you in the next 10 minutes. Because if you have someone you're not speaking to, someone you're waiting to apologize first, you need to hear this. It started in 1973. I was 38. My sister Linda was 36. We were at a family dinner at our mother's house. Christmas, I think, or maybe Easter. The holiday doesn't matter. Linda made some comment about how I was raising my boys. Something about being too strict, letting them watch too much TV. I don't know. She said it in front of everyone. Aunts, uncles, cousins. Everyone heard it. I was mortified. Furious. Who was she to criticize my parenting? She didn't even have kids yet. I didn't make a scene. I just went quiet, cold. When dinner was over, I left without saying goodbye to her. And I didn't call her. She didn't call me either. A week went by, then a month, then a year. My mother kept saying, "She'll come around. She'll realize what she did and apologize." My husband said, "You can't let people disrespect you like that, even family, especially family." Everyone agreed with me. I was the wronged party. I had every right to my silence, so I wore that silence like dignity, like self-respect. I told myself I was setting boundaries. That's what you're supposed to do, right? You don't let people treat you badly. You don't let them walk all over you. I was teaching her a lesson. I was waiting for her to learn. 47 years. That's how long the lesson lasted. We saw each other at family events, Christmas, funerals, weddings, mom's birthday parties, graduations. We were civil. We'd say hello. We'd sit at the same table. We'd pass the potatoes, but we didn't talk, not really. Every single time there was this moment, this opening, where one of us could have said something, could have broken the silence, but I always remembered I was the one who was wronged. She owed me the apology, and she probably thought the same thing. I remember one specific moment. It was 1989. My oldest son was getting married. At the reception, I went to the bathroom. Linda came in right after me, just the two of us. We stood at the sinks, washing our hands side by side. I could see her in the mirror. She could see me. She opened her mouth, like she was about to say something. Our eyes met, and I looked away first. I dried my hands and walked out. That was 36 years ago. I can still see her face in that mirror. There were hundreds of moments like that. Thousands probably. Every Christmas, sitting in the same room, watching our kids play together. Every funeral, standing next to each other, both thinking about mortality, both too proud to speak. Every birthday card that came to Mom's house with both our names on it, written by someone else. The pattern was always the same. See, Linda, feel that pull, that urge to say something. Remember, I'm waiting for her to apologize. Stay quiet. go home feeling justified and somehow empty at the same time. Week after week, year after year, decade after decade, I didn't think anything was wrong. This was just how things were now. This was the natural consequence of her disrespect. This was me having boundaries. I told myself we were fine. We were being adults about it, mature, civil, but civil isn't the same as close, and somewhere in those 47 years, I stopped being her sister. I became the person who was right. 6 years ago, I was 85 years old, sitting in a doctor's waiting room for a routine checkup. There was a woman next to me, about my age. She was filling out the emergency contact form and she was crying. Quietly, the kind of crying you do when you're trying hard not to. The nurse noticed and asked if she was okay. The woman said, "I don't know who to put down. There's no one. I outlived my husband. My son doesn't speak to me. I don't have anyone to call." I looked down at my own form in my lap. Under emergency contact, I still had Linda's name, her phone number from 40 years ago, before she'd moved twice. I hadn't updated it because we didn't talk, but her name was still there. I went home that day and couldn't stop thinking about it. I went through old photo albums. There were pictures of Linda and me as kids, as teenagers, as young mothers with our babies on our laps at Mom's house. There was one photo from 1968, 5 years before the fight. We're in Mom's backyard. Summer, we're laughing so hard we're doubled over. I can't remember what was so funny. Something stupid, some inside joke. Our arms are around each other. We looked so happy. I tried to remember the last time Linda and I had laughed together like that. I couldn't. Then I tried to remember what the fight was even about. That thing she said about my parenting that was so terrible, I'd cut her out of my life for almost half a century. I couldn't remember that either. I sat there on my couch, 85 years old, holding this photo, and the thought hit me like ice water. I traded 47 years of my sister for the satisfaction of being right about something I can't even remember. If you're waiting for someone to apologize first, listen to me. You think you're protecting yourself. You think you're teaching them a lesson. You think you're setting healthy boundaries, but what you're really doing is building a wall, brick by brick, year by year, and you're telling yourself that the wall is their fault, that they could knock it down any time by just saying 2 words. I'm sorry, but here's what I know now. It doesn't matter whose fault the wall is. You're both on opposite sides of it. You're both alone. Society tells you to stand your ground, to not let people disrespect you, to wait for them to make the first move. Don't let her treat you that way. You deserve an apology. She needs to learn. Everyone agreed with me. For 47 years, everyone told me I was right to wait. But you know what nobody told me? That being right doesn't keep you warm at night. That pride is a poor substitute for family. That you can win every argument and still lose everything that matters. I did the same thing with other people too. A neighbor I stopped speaking to over some stupid property line dispute. A cousin who said something I didn't like at a wedding. I was always waiting, always justified, always right, and always alone. I watch my grandson do it now. He's not speaking to his brother over money, something about a loan that wasn't paid back. He tells me I'm not calling him until he apologizes, and I see myself at 38. So sure, so righteous. I want to shake him and say, it doesn't matter who's right. It matters who you love and how much time you have left with them. But he won't listen, just like I didn't listen. Here's what I wish I'd known. Number 1, the person who makes the first move isn't weak, they're wise. For 47 years, I thought reaching out first meant I was admitting defeat, backing down, letting her win. But there are no winners in silence. There are just two people who used to love each other, getting older on opposite sides of a wall. The strong thing, the brave thing, is to break the silence even when you're still hurt, even when they haven't apologized, even when you're not sure they will. You're not backing down. You're choosing love over pride. Starting today, if there's someone you're not speaking to, reach out. You don't need a big speech, just "I miss you. Can we talk?" Number 2, you don't have to forget what happened. You just have to decide it's not worth losing them. I used to think that if I reached out first, it meant I was saying what Linda did was okay, that I was erasing it. But forgiveness doesn't mean what they did was right. It means you're not going to let that moment define the rest of your relationship. What Linda said that night hurt me. Maybe it was thoughtless. Maybe it was mean. I don't even remember anymore. But I remember her pushing me on the swings when we were kids. I remember her holding my hand at Dad's funeral. I remember her teaching my boys to ride bikes. One bad moment, decades of good ones, and I let the one bad moment erase everything else. You don't have to forget. You just have to decide, is this worth the cost? Number 3, they know where to find me is not a strategy. It's an excuse. For years I told myself, if Linda wants to apologize, she knows my number. But she was probably thinking the same thing. We were both waiting, both convinced the other person should move first. Both alone. They know where to find me feels like dignity. It's not. It's fear dressed up as principle. It's easier to wait than to risk rejection. Easier to blame them for the silence than to admit you're perpetuating it too. If you want the relationship, you have to fight for it. Even when it feels unfair. Even when you're scared. Number 4, time does not heal wounds. It just makes them harder to remember why you have them. I thought time would make things better, that eventually the hurt would fade and we'd naturally drift back together. But time doesn't heal estrangement. It calcifies it. Every year that passed made it harder to reach out. The silence became its own reason. We haven't talked in 10 years becomes, we haven't talked in 20 years becomes, we haven't talked in so long, I don't even know how to start. The hurt didn't fade. I just forgot what caused it. And that's worse because I sacrificed my sister for something that eventually meant nothing. Don't wait for time to fix it. Time is what's stealing it from you. Number 5, you think you're teaching them a lesson, but the only lesson is that you're not there. I thought my silence would make Linda realize what she'd done, that she'd miss me and understand she'd hurt me and come apologize. But silence doesn't teach people anything except that you're gone. She didn't learn to be more careful with her words. She learned that I wasn't someone she could count on, that our relationship was conditional, that one mistake could end everything. And I learned the same thing about her. We both learned we were people who would choose being right over being family. That's the lesson 47 years of silence taught us. Number 6, the longer you wait, the higher the cost of being wrong. At first, I could have called her after a week. Hey, that hurt my feelings. Can we talk about it? After a month, it was harder. After a year, it felt impossible. By decade 2, I'd told so many people about how she wronged me. I'd justified it so many times. I'd built my identity around being the wronged sister. To reach out would mean admitting I'd wasted years, that I'd been wrong, that I'd hurt us both. The cost kept getting higher, so I kept waiting. Don't let pride compound like interest. The longer you wait, the harder it gets. Number 7, your kids are watching. They're learning how to handle conflict from you. My sons saw how I treated Linda. They learned that in our family, if someone hurts you, you cut them off. And now they do it too, to each other, to their own kids sometimes. My oldest hasn't spoken to his daughter in 3 years. Some argument about her husband. He's waiting for her to apologize. I did that. I taught him that love is conditional, that family is expendable, that pride matters more than reconciliation. What you do in your relationships becomes your children's blueprint. Number 8, the apology you're waiting for might never come, and you have to decide if you're okay with that. I spent 47 years waiting for Linda to say, "I'm sorry for what I said that night." She never did. Not before the dementia. Not ever. And you know what? It doesn't matter anymore, because even if she had apologized in 1974, we still would have lost 46 years. The apology was never the point. Connection was the point. You can wait forever for someone to admit they were wrong, or you can decide that having them in your life matters more than being right. Number 9, pride feels like strength. But it's just fear wearing a mask. I told myself I had self-respect, boundaries, that I wouldn't let anyone treat me poorly, not even family. But underneath all that righteous anger was just fear. Fear of being hurt again, fear of looking weak, fear of admitting I might have overreacted. Pride is easier than vulnerability, easier than saying, "I miss you and I'm scared you don't miss me back." So I stay proud and alone. Number 10, you don't have as much time as you think. This is the big one. The one I wish I could go back and tell my 38-year-old self. You think you have time. You think you can wait them out. You think eventually somehow it'll work itself out. But people die. They get sick. They move away. Their minds fade. And then it's too late. Not someday. Not in some distant future. Now, today, this is your time. I called Linda that day, 6 years ago, right after I saw that photo. My hands were shaking when I dialed. I hadn't used her number in decades. I wasn't even sure it was still hers. She answered on the 3rd ring. "Linda?" My voice cracked. "It's Helen." There was silence, long enough that I thought she might hang up. Then Helen. Just my name. But I could hear 47 years in the way she said it. I started crying. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. For all of it. I don't even remember what we fought about. And I'm sorry." She was quiet for a moment. Then she said very softly, "Helen, I need to tell you something. I have dementia. Early stages. The doctor diagnosed me 3 months ago." The floor dropped out from under me. "I don't remember the fight either," she continued. "I don't remember a lot of things anymore, but I remember being so sad that you wouldn't talk to me. I thought about calling you 1,000 times." "Why didn't you?" I whispered. "Same reason you didn't call me. I was waiting for you to make the first move. I was hurt too." We both started crying then. 2 old women sobbing on the phone about 47 years of stupid, stubborn silence. We talk now. Every few days, I drive to her house and we sit in her kitchen and drink tea. We look at old photos together. She doesn't always remember who's in them. Sometimes she doesn't remember that we had a fight at all. Sometimes she asks me why we didn't talk for so long, and I have to tell her the story again. Sometimes she doesn't remember that I visited yesterday, but sometimes on her good days, she'll laugh at something and I'll see my sister again. The girl who pushed me on the swings. The woman who held my hand at funerals. I got about 6 months of real conversation with her. 6 months where she was still mostly herself. Now I'm watching her disappear, Last week she looked at me and said, "You look familiar." "Do I know you?" I said. "I'm your sister, I'm Helen." She smiled. "That's a pretty name." I sit with her twice a week. She forgets I was there within hours, but I go anyway, because this is all I have. These moments where she doesn't know me but I know her, where I can hold her hand and tell her I love her even if she won't remember. I can't get back 47 years. I can't have the conversations we should have had, the holidays we should have spent together, the phone calls about nothing, the inside jokes we should have made. I traded all of that for the satisfaction of being right about something I can't even remember. And now she's going somewhere I can't follow. She's forgetting me in real time. I'm 91 years old. She's 89. I don't have much time left either. And I will spend whatever time I have left sitting with her, holding her hand, hoping that somewhere deep down she knows it's me, hoping that somewhere in the fog she remembers that I came back, even if I came back too late. If you have someone you're not speaking to, someone you're waiting to apologize first, listen to me. Stop reading this right now. Think about their face. Think about what you're fighting about. Now ask yourself, will this matter when they're gone? Will this matter when you're 91 and alone? Is being right worth never hearing their voice again? I'm telling you, it's not. It's never worth it. Pick up the phone, send the text, write the letter, show up at their door. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need the perfect words. You just need to show up and say, "I don't want this anymore. I miss you." They might be angry. They might not be ready. They might still be hurt. But at least you tried. At least you didn't spend 47 years waiting for something that doesn't matter. My sister doesn't remember our fight. She doesn't remember most of her life now. But I remember. I remember every wasted Christmas, every funeral where we stood on opposite sides of the room, every moment I could have reached out and didn't. I remember all of it, and I would give everything everything to go back and call her in 1973, to swallow my pride and say, "I love you more than I need to be right, but I can't go back. You can. They're still here. Go."